Greetings guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Monette, and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. For those of you that are new here, I am a professional intuitive empath. So good to share energy with you today. Come on in. Thank you for inviting me in. For those of you that are new here, we're going to get right into the message, and we're going to clear the air. A little Palo Santo to start. I wanted to have a talk face to face about people who talk behind your back, and of course, you know, I have examples. So let's begin where we need to begin at. I've alluded to always teaching you what I'm going through. So there will be times in my life where I'm going through lessons, and I will come here and I will teach you. The thumbnail that you see on the screen is a thumbnail that was shown to me by my angels to alert me to the fact that I had some defectors in the camp, if you will. I had some people that were gossiping about me. And as a Leo, loyalty is everything. I'm one for communication too. I have a Gemini rising, so talking's what I'm gonna do. And in order to work through problems, I definitely will bounce ideas off people. I will talk about it, but I'm not talking for malice, and I'm not lying, and I'm not embellishing, and I'm not misleading. Anything that I say is the truth. And it's said with the intention of discovering what I can fix, put back together, or completely undo. As I'm channeling here, my nose always is itching, so pardon me, guys. So I'm looking for different ways to deal with things whenever I am up against the ropes spiritually, or up against the ropes with people that might go rogue and turn on me. That doesn't happen all the time, but you have to understand your sign. One, Leos will deal with energy. Slander is a huge thing that happens to any Leo. Leo risings get it worse than I think anybody in the zodiac. A lot of astrologers would agree, so I never envy a Leo rising, because they will be talked about almost viciously for sometimes no reason. But Leos can get it too. Also, let's preface this by saying none of us are innocent either, right? None of us are innocent. We all, for all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. That part, okay? But the thing about me specifically, and I'm going to give you the example, and hopefully maybe teach you something about something you may have gone through in your life too, is that I'm usually going to bring whatever the problem is directly to you. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to be honest about my intentions when I begin something. I am very fair. I use my words, and I'm clear, because I feel like so many of us were robbed of that. And so if there's ever an opportunity in my life where I can demonstrate that, I try to. I was driving along US 1 when I saw that picture. And what you need to understand is that the angels and your spirit team will talk to you in a myriad of ways. And so when I am in a spiritual warfare, if I am wondering something or thinking about something or trying to get clarity, they'll put it right in my face. My angels are very literal with me, because I enjoy vibrancy. Can you tell by the way that I carry myself, the way you see me, the way I show up? I love color. I love things to be bright. I love things to come to life. The decks that I gravitate towards are saturated with color. Like, I can't stand those decks that are, like they look like an engineer designed them. Like there's like one line and it's whatever. And for some minds that works. But for me, I need life in Technicolor. I am a full fire sign, and that means the fairy tale captivates me. So let's bring on the color and the beautiful energy. And so that is a piece of pop culture that you see there. But it was something that alerted me to several months that would be upcoming of despair, because I knew that someone around me that I love very much was not playing fair. Not only were they not playing fair, they were being spiteful. And it was something I didn't want to see. As many of us empaths know, when we love people and after you've been through a rocky road, you're always hoping that the new people that are dispatched in will hold energy. You know, I have a friend who is my best friend, and she's one of my best friends, and she is always having these corporate battles. But she's an Aries. It makes a lot of sense to me that that would be her destiny. She's always fighting and fighting and fighting these corporate battles where she's having to take down, like, industry, giants of industry, and she usually wins. More often than not, she always wins. In fact, she's always vindicated. But it's not just like a quick thing. It's like it could play out for 6 months, a year, 3 years, and then someday someone will send her an email and be like, hey, I actually really tried everything I could to destroy you, but it turns out that your soul was good. Like, she's a good soul, right? But she's in this stuff, and sometimes I'll be reading for her, or I'll get a channel message to give to her. If I'm friends with you, yes, I have friends that pay me for readings and respect me, and I love that. But if I love you and I'm in your life, I'm always going to tell you, if I'm invited to, what I'm getting for you and about you and how to get you to your next accelerated place. So I would just call and be like, hey, I have a premonition, XYZ is about to happen. Heads up, 7-Up. And she'd be like, girl, this is what was going on, and you were right, and the angels are talking to you, right? And she talks to her angels. She's very spiritually grounded. But I would not want her life, being that she's very successful, very, very successful. But that makes me have anxiety thinking about having to be in litigation all the time and constantly sued and always having to battle and prove, and people trying to, like, eat her business and just all kinds of things she deals with. But she is literally cut out for it as an Aries. Aries rules Mars, the planet rules Aries, which is considered like the god of war. So she is so strategic and so certain when she goes into these long-term battles what she's fighting for. And I say that to say you need to know about your sign and what way you might be tried or denied or tested, right? For me, being love, Leo rules the heart and the spine. Standing up for myself is the way I'm tested. Put some respect on my name. And then in matters of love, or not just love relationships, like you're my lover, juicy lover, but like, are you my friend? Are you a loyal friend? Do you love me? Would you stand up for me again and again? Or would you deny me like Peter denied Jesus again and again and turn into my Judas? This is the way that I'm tested often. And she looks at me and is like, girl, that's exhausting. The same way I look at her and say, girl, that's exhausting. But we are both literally cut to fit the tests and tribulations that are dispatched in our way. Maybe that's a little food for thought for you today. What ways have you seen Chiron show up for you in your chart? You're a wounded healer, areas where you had to go over and over again. Or what ways, even if it has nothing to do with your Chiron, have you seen yourself be tried and tried and tried again? Everybody here has a certain way that people specifically deal with you or try you, and you have spiritual warfare and battles to constantly do. Well, for me, it's in the matter of relationships, because what I'm dispatched here to do is to teach about relationships and to tell the truth. It's to break a lot of bondage and chains off of you and off of me too. And it's to guide people towards their evolution so that they can have the healthiest relationship that they're capable of, or even if it's not the healthiest in the moment, that they learn something from it, extract it, transmute it, and then up level again. All I care about for my collective is up leveling. And that means I am tested too. And I'm tested in the way that any Leo would be, which is in matters of heart chakra energy. And so the story begins. When I saw that picture, I knew that the several people that I was kind of dealing with were not for me. They were no longer friends. And my angels told me in a lot of ways, and I'm going to tell you the story so that you can see how it plays out, so that you can correlate it to whatever you're going through in your life, because maybe you've had something happen similar, and even if you hadn't, maybe they're getting you ready to, even if this is not your wheelhouse. Maybe for you it's corporate, like my friend, but for me, this is how it is, and here's where the sidewalk ends. So I saw that picture, and my angels, I have another video here where I was dealing with someone who was really insidious, and the octopus is how they got my attention on a sign. And that's when I knew, like, we were devolving into real demon time with that person. And they were like, abort, 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 get out, right? Well, when I saw this, I knew it. I knew exactly a year ago or so when the gossip started. I knew. Here's the thing: because I rule the heart, compassion is part of my spiritual fabric. So I even understood why the gossip began. I understood compassionately how that person felt. I understood that they may have felt alienated. I understood that they may have felt cast aside, denied, excluded. And I was doing everything in my power to manage it while still being the spiritualist that I am, that understood that there was a lesson unfolding for both of us. And I started to manage it and tried to mitigate the damage. And I was only making more of a mess. Can any of you guys relate? Sometimes when you step in the way of fate, you can only serve to disrupt the course of nature. Thinking about the butterfly effect, as we have the butterfly here behind me. So I stepped aside because my angel said, you don't get to get involved in this, even though it's involving you. There is a spiritual test that is afoot for both of you. How are you going to handle this? What are you going to do? And also, what you don't realize is that this test is designed for both of you, but this other person's being tested too. They are being allowed to be stretched, to be made uncomfortable, even if it wasn't provoked. It was nothing that I wanted to do. In fact, I kind of went out of my way to avoid provocation for that person, which only incensed them more. You see what happens when you try to fix it? I tried to stop them having a deluge of information so they wouldn't be triggered, and it only triggered them more. So sometimes you just have to let things unfold the way they are. The angels always know what's in store. But what I want you to know is that the angels and your ancestors and your spirit team are not going to let you sit in a situation where it actually gets dangerous and where someone's really gone rogue and they've let demons hop in, they've let their lower vibration, their ego overtake them, and they are out to get you, and they want to harm you, and they want to villainize you in whatever way, and that's okay. Being that I'm in my righteous villain era, I am ready to be the villain any day, because I'm channeling Scarface. You need bad guys. If you want to make me the bad guy, at least I know I have spiritual team on my side, and we ride. I don't need anybody to ride it down with me. I ride it down with my spirit team, and their ride doesn't cost me my integrity. So I know what it is to understand, to embrace, to have someone be like, no, it's you, and point at your face. But what I knew was that my angels were telling me, what you think is happening, sis. Take a look at this. So I'm passing by and I see that. And it takes me months until I go back to that certain place on US 1 because I was dispatched back. They told me in the last couple of months specifically, they said, go take a picture of that. Okay, they have a way with me about communicating with me with pictures. And they said, go take a picture of that because it's all about to really, really unfold. And unfold it did. Now, I'm going to tell you a really cool thing that happened as it unfolded too. But it unfolded. Now, before I got that picture, several months before, there was something, it's like the mask slipped with this person. And they were incredibly disrespectful and degrading to me. And with my traumas and triggers, disrespectful, something a lot of people don't get to be very often with me. You know, if you get away with it once, you were lucky. But I really pounced on that because it is something that, you know, I understand. You need to understand where your triggers are at. And that means that sometimes people will try to purposely trigger you. And they said this person is going out of her way to be spiteful and mean to you because she has a lot of jealousy of you. Now, when I would try to have real communication and conversation with her, because I recommend any of you guys do that if you're capable of it, and I didn't feel that she was as far gone as she eventually ended up being, I was really trying to talk to her. I was really like, hey, can we talk about this? Like, how do you feel? What's going on? Etc., etc. But all of that compassion that I had went out the window when I realized that she just wanted to get me back. She didn't really want to talk. She wanted to keep me there. She wanted to keep me stuck. And it was this real destiny moment. It was like if I would have stayed, I would have been signing up for many more years of a contract where I would have been completely not only unhappy, but someone thought that they could abuse me. And she would never look at it that way, but that's exactly what it was. And she got away with it with other people in her life, but not me, not on my life, and not in this life. So sometimes you will come in and you will be someone's karmic balance. I just made a video talking about Anubis a bit and how the scales of justice will weigh, and you have been found in the balance and weighed in the balance and found wanting on that day. Well, that's exactly what happened. Several months before I took a picture of what you saw on the screen, I had a dream. I'm not Martin Luther King, but I had a dream. And in the dream, we were driving up a cliff, and this person was driving and I was in the back seat, which is something that happens very much in my life in the last couple of years because of me recovering and my injury and all the stuff that I had going on. For those of you that are new here, I came back. I almost died, came back to life. Relearned how to walk, all that stuff. So sitting in the back seat of the car has been more comfortable for me for the last couple of years. And so that is a position that we'd actually been in very many times in real life. And so she was driving, but I absolutely trusted her. And we're driving up the mountains. We're going to a very specific place, and I trust her. It's a very thing that has happened in real life where I hate driving in the mountains, and anybody that knows me knows that. Even if it's a hill, I'm like, I hate it. So I drive slow, and it's crazy, and it makes people nervous, and it's terrible. So I really would happily take the back seat. And so in the dream, she's driving and I'm so happy about it. But then I start to feel nervous, and her voice is getting higher and higher and higher and higher pitched. And she's inching closer and closer to the edge. And I'm freaking out because in real life I would. I have literally been in the backseat of friends' cars and whatever and been like, oh my God. I freak out about even being close to the side of a cliff. And so, especially with no guardrails and all the rest of it, right? And so, but I trust her. In my real waking life, I really trust her. I've trusted her with my real life. So the scenario is played out and I've always ended up safe. No reason to complain, no reason to even doubt. But in the stream, I'm like, hey, we're getting close to the side. Do you think that we should maybe turn around? Do you think we should not just turn around, but maybe dress right, go back over a little bit, get to the other side? And she was like, no, I assure you, it's fine. Everything's fine. So she's telling me everything's fine as she keeps driving. But as she's talking, what I'm discerning is happening is that she's getting more and more manic. And her voice is going higher and higher and higher. And she does not sound like we're fine. And she was like, I would never drive us off the cliff. And she was like, that's even crazy that you would think that. And I'm like, oh, everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Higher. I can't even go as high as she sounded. And I'm in the back seat and I'm freaking out because I'm like, she's about to drive us off the freaking cliff. And I thought, well, this is irrational because in your waking life, even in the dream, I'm rationalizing myself. You've done this drive with her before. This is a cakewalk. She does this. This is no big deal. Except the big reveal was she actually drove us off the cliff. And in my dream. And as we're careening off the side of the cliff, I'm like, I thought you said you weren't going to drive us off the side of the cliff. And her voice modulates and turns into something that's demonic. And she said, maybe you shouldn't have trusted me. Maybe you shouldn't have trusted me. It's your fault that you trusted me. She turned into a snake. I don't dream about people often. Even with the octopus situation of my little cosmic toxic ass soulmate that taught me so many fun lessons, I didn't have dreams about her. I had premonitions. I had intuitions. I had flashes. I had that soul raven moments with her. I understood what was unfolding, but I never dreamt of her. Okay? And it was very telling to me that I dreamt of this person who I found far more safe, far more comfortable, far more familiar, far more longevity in my life than that Faye that I was dealing with. That wasn't right. And I thought, this is interesting. So there's a message here for you. Sometimes it will be the people that are closest to you that will be the biggest threat to you. Because that Fae definitely was casting illusions and was a threat to me. And I'm not casting her in any highlight here. But I thought the juxtaposition was fascinating. Very interesting. Because my angels didn't find her to be a person that they had to alarm me with a dream. They were listening, they were watching me, and they saw that I was getting the signs and that I was moving her out of my life and that I was very okay with it. Like I cut the cords, I did everything I needed to do because I was like, this person, it was insidious and she hates me too, but it's different. This person was close to me. This person had full and total access to me. This person became a monitoring spirit in my life. This person was literally blocking anything good coming into my life. She was unhappy that anything good would be in my life. She was steeped in her own misery for a lot of reasons. And she made it seem as though, like, I'm just living vicariously. But really, she was wanting to see. She was incredibly conservative in a way that I'm not. The reason I'm telling you guys this is because you may think that someone is like you, right? We do all this vetting. It takes a while, whatever. But when you are living in a way that they would not do, whatever that may be, then the truth will seep out of their pores and you will see how they really feel about you. You will hear how they really feel about you. And I was starting to hear how she really felt, no matter how cool or hip or with it she thought she was. At her core, she was very judgmental and conservative, which is fine. We all can be, we all can be conservative. We all can be judgmental for sure. I know I have certainly been. So with that, I even had a lot of compassion because I understood that my life and the way I live it is very different. It's very different and it's not for everybody. But no, all the blessed assurances she gave me, oh my God, I can handle it, whatever. No, she couldn't. And she not only and it's not for her to handle, like who cares if someone doesn't like your life? But what will happen is if you are literally put here in this life to live a certain way and you have someone that's in your face that doesn't like you, they are sending negative spells and thought vibrations to you. And whatever you're trying to do will fail. While she had the biggest smile on her face, I am a cheerleader for you. I'm rooting for you. I want only the best for you. She hated to see me have a win. She hated to see me have anything good really happen for me. She did not want for me to be happy. The angels were made it so clear. They're like, this lady is not rooting for you. Okay? She is rooting against you. She is unhappy when you have happiness, and she is terrified of you, quote unquote, leaving her, even though we were not, this is a completely platonic friendship, guys, zero attraction, but she was afraid of just whatever. Maybe she was afraid of not having something to monitor. What I began to understand really insidiously was that I was her entertainment, and that creeped me out. They started channeling Get Out, okay, and I talked about that in another video, but the scenes where everyone's watching him, he's not even in the room, he's upstairs, but as his body moves across the floor, it creaks, his feet creak on the floorboards, and the room falls silent, and everyone's just looking, and it creeped me out, because I knew that's exactly what was happening in this connection. I'm even just creeped out as I'm talking to you guys about this. That's exactly what was happening in this connection, is that it had gone from maybe one time honest and genuine affection, or now I'm thinking about it, maybe whenever was, maybe it was always just to have access. This is such a powerful lesson that I keep learning again and again because of whatever's next. I don't even know what's next. My angels won't tell me, but they're like, we're teaching you how to understand the archetypes of these people that will want to get near to you or next to you, and you're going to have to be your first line of defense. And this rings true for you too, whoever's watching. I don't care what you're called to, where you're going, you are your first line of defense, and you need to be knowing for sure who you're allowing to be proximal to you. And even if they were good for 55 years, when they go rogue, you need to be out of there. Do you understand? You do not negotiate, because that's how the devil really gets you. Is it's like, but wait, I'm your great aunt Bertha. I've always loved you. But if great aunt Bertha has gone rogue and she's putting that gossipy tongue on you, then she's sending all these thought forms and doing all this spiritual spell work, verbal spell work, and casting spells against you to have you not have success, to not have you live your best. If she's hating, like, let's say specifically with this person, when I lose weight, she'd be like, my, aren't we getting skinny? And I was thinking she was really happy for me. And y'all know I haven't been nobody skinny ever. And any times y'all have seen me on this channel, maybe someday before I go to glory, but y'all, skinny was not a thing that's happened that you've seen since you've known me here, okay? I have gone up and down in my weight for sure. But that was even a thing. And you guys may have noticed that maybe you've had something like that happen in your life. Maybe it's not about weight, but it's about something else. And for some reason, it doesn't feel like a compliment after a while. Or when I began to travel, my, like, you're just like literally like just traveling. And the thing to know about that guy specifically is, not that I think she hated travel, she liked travel. But when I would ask her to travel or just go like just one-on-one and not have to have an entourage or whatever, she would just shoot me down. It was like, so whatever. So it's like, what did she think I was going to do? Was never live my life and never travel and never like have happiness or never do anything. I was just going to wait for her forever. Some people will really want you to just be stuck waiting for them, and they're playing with you. They're never going to give you what you want, whatever that is. Okay. So transpose that to a love relationship, transpose that to a raise at work, you name it. You guys get what I'm saying? You guys may have people that are dangling these carrots and they're future faking you. And I realized she was future faking me. So I started to like manifest exactly what I wanted for myself. It was like, oh, she's not going to ever do this. And she sold me. Oh my God. People will come in and try to sell me. People love to sell me stuff. Okay. Because I'm a fire sign, they're like, I got a fairy tale for you, dummy. And depending on what's going on in my life, I'll be like, a fairy tale? Let's go. So she was future faking. She was never going to fulfill any of those things without all the stipulations, but she expected me to fulfill it. She expected me to show up. She expected me to be uncomfortable. She didn't give a fuck about my feelings, to be honest with you. I don't think she liked me, to be honest with you. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Well, in that moment, I'm realizing I'm dealing with a frenemy. And then she starts to do real frenemy shit to spite me, because I was allowing my compassion that I was projecting onto her to be my guidance, to guide me. And my angel said, that's not what we told you. We told you abort mission. She's gone rogue. And you need to be able to tell that immediately. Again, we don't care if Aunt Bertha baked you the best oatmeal raisin cookies for 55 years. The second she's trying to put arsenic in there, we're trying to tell you before you bite into the cookie. So we don't need you asking, well, she's always baked me cookies. They've always been delicious. While you're raising that cookie to their mouth, if they're telling you drop that shit and put it in the trash and tell her thank you and got a blast, that's what your spirit team needs you to do. They need you to move that quickly. They need you to trust them so that you can save you. That's a message. I just felt that in my heart chakra. They need you to trust them so that they can save you. They do not need you being like, Aunt Bertha would never put arsenic, but why do I feel creeped out holding this cookie? They need you to drop the fucking cookie. I'm telling you. And that was the test that I had with this person specifically. I'm looking at my Animal Wise book. This lesson brought out primal instincts in me. And it taught me an animalistic lesson about the way people can be. Now, I have learned this lesson, I thought, before, but I didn't learn it this way. And so I'm hoping that I can convey whatever properties you would need so that it's beneficial for you. When I had the dream and then she turned into a snake. Now, it just so happens that snakes are things she hates. Like for me, it's spiders, you guys know. But she has a fear of a snake, but I don't. I've seen snakes in real life. I've held them. I don't want to interact with anything that's venomous. But I'm not terrified of them. Like I wouldn't have a reaction that would, I think, put my life in danger. I've had snakes cross my path when I'm out camping, things like that. Like big, long, moving, slow snakes, not just like a quick little whoop through the grass. And I think there's a reason that I don't have that phobia per se, because snakes show up in my dreams when a powerful spiritual gauntlet is being thrown down and my life might be at stake. The last time I dreamt about a snake, it was with my twin flame, my toxic twin, the evil person who in so many ways was a catalyst for me to stop letting people play in my fucking face. And in that dream, there was a huge boa constrictor with another snake wrapped around it because I was dealing with the twin and the karmic. And out of the shadows, I didn't see him, was my father. My ancestor stepped in. We're West Indian. And he handed me a machete. And he said, lash them! I didn't see him. But in my hand is this machete gleaming in the dark. In the dark. And I see this huge slithering snake. And I did my ancestral part. But he could have done it. He was observing the whole time as an ancestor, right? But he gave me it was like passing the baton, passing the torch. He put the machete in my hand and he said, lash them. And I cut the head off in one fell swoop of this huge, huge boa constrictor. And watch the body wriggle as you know it will do after. And in the subsequent months, I would be driving through the country and there would be two snakes that I would always see and run over. They were already dead. They were in the road, but it was on the path and it's a one-way lane. And I would actually nod because I understood that my ancestors saw the pain I was going through. And even though those animals died from somebody else road killing them, they said you had spiritual work to do and were confirming to you that you have in fact killed the snakes that were trying to harm you. When you hear people talk about the word shaman or high priestess, those experiences are what make you understand that you've entered into a different realm. It's not about placing yourself above someone, because actually those experiences are uncomfortable. Those experiences are outside of our societal norm. They are outside of the matrix. They are probably one of the craziest ways to be informed that you are actually at spiritual war. You will get it through totems, animals. You will get it through signs, symbols, and songs. You will get it through dreams. So when, after years, and I've had soulmate people that I've dated romantically that were toxic that I had to cut out. I dated 2 soulmate people in the interim, right? From the time I had the dream about the twin and the karmic years and years and years ago. And both of those people were not a go. And so I had to get them out. And with one that was more toxic, the first one, I remember having a dream, but about an underwater seascape. And they were showing me a huge sea urchin because she had wicks in her hair. And they were saying, stay away from here. It was foreboding. But she wasn't actually in the dream, right? I did dream of her again when she tried to do some real diabolical, like legal stuff to me. And I literally saw her face. It woke me up in my sleep. People will project into your energy, okay? And I knew that I had a battle in front of me. And I finished the battle, thank God. But my angels will warn me. No dream about the octopus person. They just gave me the signs and symbology. And because I was aware that she was toxic the whole time, I think they didn't have to give me the dream. I feel like the dream is like high alert. That's what I'm learning. That's what I've been writing about. The dream is high alert. When you're getting dreams, a lot of us dream for a lot of reasons, right? I'm thinking of Joseph and his dreams and how his dreams gave him, I'm thinking specifically when he was in prison and he had a dream about the baker and he had a dream about the thief. Anyway, if you know, you know. But the dreams are how he got let go because he was so good at his dreams. And I have dreams in many ways, but these dreams specifically saved my life because it showed me the face of the devil that I was fighting. The fact that I was dealing with an archon and an entity and not the sweet cherub face of Grandma Gertrude with the cookies. Does that make sense? I was dealing with someone that has body hopped and body jumped. And those 2 people specifically actually had a lot in common. It was like I was dealing with the older version of my toxic twin, though this one wasn't my twin. It was like I was dealing with the older version of my toxic twin. It was like, had I got to know and stay in the twin's life, this is what she would have evolved into. Their mannerisms morphed. They became the same person. It creeped me the fuck out. The way that she was dealing with me. And she was thinking that just butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. Oh my God. Like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. And my angel said, you're not paying attention. You're treating her like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. Because that's the way that she loves to be treated. It's a very interesting, covert way that she behaves. I can't give her any of the narcissistic names. I don't know that that's true. But toxicity and jealousy will do something that corrupts and curdles you. And she was corrupted and curdled. She was atrophied. She no longer had the fluidity of motion. Maybe she never did and I just didn't see. But what happened was when I saw the snake and we're careening off the cliff and I feel my stomach drop out, like when you're in a roller coaster and you're going down the roller coaster, I associate roller coasters with that twin. She was mentally ill. I don't know if this person is mentally ill. But what I know is that she swallowed some bitter pill and started to despise me. And I'm thinking maybe it was always there. I remember the first time she ever got into the back of my car. I had an HHR many years ago, and we had just met. And I had a picture of myself, hashtag Leo, Leo energy, on my dashboard. I had done up my car to manifest a trip to Paris. So it was decorated like a Parisian like boutique. Inside, that's when I'm super extra now. I don't do all that, guys. A little bling now and I'm good. But it was like, I had like pillows that I had hand done. I had named my car. You know, I had named my car. What did I name it? I don't know. I named it something after the Golden Girls, but I did like some kind of acronym play on the Golden Girls, and I had like the glitter letters in there and whatever. Anyway, the car was decked out, and she got in the back, and I had a picture of myself like in a proper frame, like glued to the dashboard, because I was really working on like self-affirmation and manifestation. No one knows. No one had to know, but I knew. And I remember catching a glimpse of her in the rear view, and she had this smirk on her face. Because I'm sure that's the first time she's ever seen anything like that. Nor did I explain my metaphysical reasons behind it and how I was guided by my angels to work on my self-esteem and to be okay looking at me if I wanted other people to look at me. This is before I had a YouTube page and all of that. You guys get it? So I was working on being seen and seeing me, right? But up to anybody else, it could just seem like vanity. Like, this was just a picture of herself. I totally get it. Again, the compassion never leaves me. And so I remember catching that smirk. And it was of disgust, and it was of probably incredulity as well. It's a face I saw on Octopus, the Octopus Fae as well, too. We were at a Broadway show, The Lion King on Broadway, actually, ironically, Lion King, Leo, energy, sun. It was a destiny moment. And a lady, there are people that came up and complimented me. I had dressed ostentatiously. Again, I love a moment, and I had like prepared, and I had this incredibly voluminous tutu that had like feathers, and the foil on the feathers like would lilt into the air. It was a moment, y'all. It was a moment. I was totally sparkled down. And so during intermission, a lot of people came up. Some parents came and brought their kids. They asked to take pictures. It was a good moment. But I remember seeing the person that I was with kind of like hunched over, sitting in her chair, and people complimented her too, right? I had no problem bringing her up next to me, taking pictures of me, and I did. I was so proud of her. It's so wild, guys. Isn't it weird how much we love people and they just are hating on us right in our face? Like, I was so... God, that shit breaks my heart, how people will do us empaths. I just want to hug you. I'm sorry, guys. Isn't it terrible how people treat you? But anyway, that smirk, there was like this like contemptuous disgust and jealousy that flashed on her face. Same, in the rear view. This is how I always say the faces change, but the behavior is the same. I have this incredible memory, and visually I read body language, and it's helped me survive because people have been incredibly abusive and duplicitous and conniving and Machiavellian in my life. And so I remember sitting there, and a mother, one lady specifically, I don't know why that triggered her, but came up, and she was really sweet, and she was chatting with me for a minute and whatever, and I could see the look on that Octopus Fae's face, and it was a flash of jealousy and disgust, and her wanting that energy and attention. destiny swapping in the worst way. She wished, you know? And I didn't. Here's the thing about people that get attention, they don't usually want it. The people that are seeking attention are desperate for it, usually repel it, because the thing you're chasing will repel you. She was so caught up with being an influencer and whatever. And I was like, but what is your integral thing that you do? Because if you do that naturally, you will influence people too. But she has no identity. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But that look on her face was the same look I saw on this person's face in the rear view all those years before. And I met this person long before the octopus fae, right? But I remember that moment of understanding when I saw the look on her face. That was my teaching moment of this one's gone rogue, because that's the look of disgust and contempt. It has a look. And there are scientific looks. Guys, watch a behavioral panel if you want to understand about the scientific ways that our faces look when we're disgusted or duping delight or any of the other things. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. But I remember seeing that. And my angels, for some reason, when we are careening off the cliff, I could now see her face I'm looking at her face in the rear view. I'm in the back seat. I'm looking at her face. And I see just absolute maniacal determination. She did it on purpose. She drove us off the cliff in my dream on purpose because she wanted to have control. Anytime you have a dream about someone else driving you, it is you have lost control of your life. Specifically, I've only ever had one other dream of someone driving me, and she was driving us off a bridge, okay, in the Keys. And I cut that relationship off with that person immediately. And when I did, she literally lost her mind. And all those demons that my angels were warning me about came out and literally tried to attack me. But I was right. I had a dream once about I was dating a pastor. Not the cool one that I liked, that we had a great breakup, but another one. And there was something off about her. And I literally was wrestling, like they talk about angels wrestling in your dream, with her in my dream. And I rolled over and cracked my head open to the point of bleeding on the corner of a nightstand. And I will never forget waking up. The nightstand was white, and so it wasn't covered in blood. And I'm on the floor. And I broke up with her immediately. And all the times that she was trying to convince me, we hadn't slept together or anything. Oh, I just thank God for the way God lets me move, man. He has saved me so many times of sharing sexual energy with people that I was never meant to. We had slept together. We had been on a few dates, whatever. But she was really trying to sweet talk me. And as soon as I broke up with her, the way that she dog cussed me, the way that she disrespected me, the way that every demon, she's a pastor, the way that every demon came out, and she was so crazy. And my angel said, that's why we had to wake you up, baby, literally by cutting you on the head, because you would have got bled out by this one. And we needed you to run. And I did. I always listen. So now it doesn't matter if it's Grandma Gertrude with the best tasting Blue Ribbon award-winning cookies. I don't care, because I know that when the dream happens, there will be calamity and disaster that ensues if I don't listen to the warning to exit as soon as possible. I can't say that I handled this as good as I could have, considering that I am so certain about my dream life. But I can say that eventually I got it right. I will tell you that when that happened and that she turns into the snake, and I see in her eyes that disgust that I saw back in the day when she was in the back of my HHR, looking at me in a certain kind of hater-ass way, which she masked immediately with like, oh my God, it's just so amazing how much you just love yourself completely. Still working on it every day. So much more to do, and I imagine together we'll evolve. But the way that I have cared about myself has unnerved people, and they've wanted to come in and they've wanted to make me not only pay, but they wanted to break me down in every kind of way. You have to be so careful about who you let be proximal to you. That dream happened. She turned into the snake, and I knew. 2 days later, she talked to me so crazy out of the side of her neck. She was so disrespectful, and she let it be known, because my angel said, you should have just ghosted her right that minute. And I'm like, angels, I don't go. So I'd like try to talk and let's work it out. They were like, no, no, no. We have observed her. This is what you guys need to hear. They said for over a year, and they told me at the beginning of the year when it happened. I knew exactly when she threw me under the bus. I knew exactly when she was just lying to my face. And I was just playing along. So I was like, well, how long are we going to do this race? See, I'm built for this shit now. Before, it could have took me out, made me sad, made me cry, had me eating ice cream. No, no, no. It had me crying out, why? Now I'm taking notes so that I can teach you how to fly. Make sense? It's like I'm a mad scientist. I'll go through the experiment so that I can show you my findings so that you can avoid ever having to inject yourself with the same poison. But also, guys, they say viewer discretion not only is advised, but don't try this at home. This isn't for everybody. I'm telling you. I have been put through certain litmus tests in my body, in my energy. I have fought death spells and won because of the spirit of God that's on me, son. Not because of any powerful thing that I did, but I have been tested by the devil. I have been tested by the devil's kids. I have been tested by God himself, herself, whoever self. I have been tested purposely, repeatedly to see, will you break? Will you bend a knee to evil? When it's trying to consume you? Will you go along to get along, or will you run and stand up in the face of adversity, no matter whether it's Grandma Gertrude or not? 2 days later, she talked to me crazy. A kind of crazy that she'd insidiously slipped in. I was only trying to defend her, come to her aid, show compassion. That word that gets us into a lot of trouble, empath. She was complaining and commiserating. Really, she wanted me to commiserate with her. Side message: when you stop talking and putting word curses over yourself. Recently I was talking to my sister about your verbal vision board, and she was saying that word to me. I said, that's brilliant, sis. I got to take it to the collective. So credit due to her, but she said, I've listened to you broadcast onto your verbal vision board, and I want to ask us, how many of us broadcast? Well, in that connection, I had someone with whom I could broadcast onto my verbal vision board all of the things that ailed me. She was the perfect friend of which I could complain with if I wanted to. And the angels removed 2. I heard 1 by 1, 2 by 2. What is that song? That's Afrobeats. Fine Wine and Hennessy. Oh my God. That's hilarious. Angels, y'all are hilarious. The snake who drove me off the cliff was fine wine. The octopus fae was Hennessy. Real talk. She was that brown liquor. That brown liquor. It hit you a little quicker. Fine wine and Hennessy on the same day. I'm going to connect that song below. That's fucking hilarious, guys. I love my angels so much. Get to know your spirit team. They're funny. They have a sense of humor. Fine wine and Hennessy. Wow. On the same day, fine wine and Hennessy both went rogue. Meaning I was dealing with her talking to me crazy and octopus fae energy doing some trifling ass something to me that just triggered me into like, okay. And on that day, both of them had to go. And it was a test about, you're teaching about how you're no longer as independent. Let us test you and see. When I always talk about the test and Anubis and whatever, it sounds like, happy me, pious me, lucky me. Bullshit. What's that little meme with that kid? Bullshit. Bullshit. No. I'm tested too. I'm tested just like you. And every time I think I'm through, and every time I think I did it, they're like, did you really do it, sis? Oh, you're not codependent, sis? Let's rip from underneath you and turn rogue and let the devils attach to 2 things or 2 entities or 2 people that you could communicate with or commiserate with or communicate to. And let's see how codependent. Let's rip out the codependency in you. It reminds me of when Kendrick said to Drake, I suggest some ayahuasca to strip the bottom out of you. On that day, my angels stripped the bottom out of me. They said, you're not codependent anymore? Let me see. We just want to see something. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Now, my body language would say no. You see how my body still hasn't caught up with the reality of that? That was a little body language show. I said it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I said, no, it's because I'm still transmuting and processing the shock of it. Okay? But yes, it actually was the best thing that ever happened to me. I have to get in alignment with my body. That's another thing we do, empaths, is we separate, we disassociate. I know I have. The body that I'm in is a product of me disassociating due to intense, incredible, repeated trauma for much of my life at the hands of people that were supposed to treat me nice. And it's not their fault. I've got to get control. This is my journey. And before I leave here, y'all will see me conquer it as you see me conquer everything else. Slow and steady wins the race. But I understand why we will take up space the way we do, or why we will disassociate when we are faced with uncomfortable truths. And in that moment, my angels tested me and they said, you have more work to do. You don't need anybody. You just need you, and you need to remain true and listen when we come through. So they stripped both away, meaning those two did not want to go away. And if I let them stay, they'd be here today. But the truth is, my angel said, if you want to ascend and get to your new home, then away they must stay. Some of you guys will be challenged with that. This is what it means to do the shadow work, the soul work, the hard work, the dark nights of the soul. This is why a lot of people stay in the matrix, because this is a lot of work. Nobody wants to always be uncomfortable. And if you have a certain area like I talked about where you're always tried, you will be uncomfortable for a great deal of your life until you pass the test. And you'll get tested and tested and tested again. And even when you think you're done with the test, it's another test. And then one day, I'm praying that there's an end to the rainbow. There's a place that the rainbow ends, and that there is a pot of gold, and it isn't just some carrot that they have me running for the rest of my life. Because if it is, I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you guys, just abandon ship and live your life, okay? And they know I will. And that's why I am commanding and requesting and demanding what I deserve at all times from my spirit team, because I'm like, I'm not doing this for nothing. There will be payoff. There will be a little something, something. And it will be something that I not only can feel, it will be something that is real, and something that will be dispatched in to actually help me heal. Because this is not ideal, yeah? But it's worth it for the spiritual ascension. That's what sets you apart, empath. That's what makes you a chosen one, is that this is the work that you sign up to do. The work that's not fucking fun, that's uncomfortable, and that disorients you and at times alienates you, because you are dedicated to the pursuit of the sun. I mean the light. I mean things that are right. You are dedicated to it, and not a lot of people can sign up, and not a lot of people can go with you. There's a passage in the Bible that's one of my favorites where God says, leave the asses behind you. And everybody laughed when we were kids because it said asses in the Bible. But he's talking about the donkeys, because he's saying they cannot not only go to the hallowed ground I'm taking you to, but they don't have the fortitude. They're not goats. They can't climb with you where you're going. So they're only going to be a hindrance to you. So leave them here at the foothills before you do the real ascension work you have to do. There are some asses that I had to leave behind, because not only were they not true, but they did not want to do the work that I had to do. And what I need you to know is that everyone has a choice. Everyone has free will. They were offered with communication, with words, with their own spirit team. Do you want to live a dream, or do you want to live the Matrix and be on the Matrix team? Do you want to be an Agent Smith? Then say less. We'll get you fitted with the suit. It's real easy, because one size fits all of you. We are individuals, empaths. We pop our collar with a little panache and a little bit of color. We dare to be different, and that difference makes people treat us with tall poppy syndrome. They want to cut us down. And so in that dream, and subsequently after those words came out of her mouth, it was over. I'm sorry. It's over now. It's over. It was so over. I have never been so disgusted. Now, see, I've been disgusted before. But specifically with this person, because I expected more. But here's the thing. If people lie to themselves, then they will lie to you. If they lie to God, they will lie to you. They are not capable of telling the truth, though it's something that they are offered to do. Everybody that comes into your path has the opportunity to live like you do, too. Which is integrally, which is pushing towards the mark of the high calling, which is choosing the hard thing over the easy thing for ascension. But sometimes that's not the work that they really want to do. So, in that moment, when she talked to me crazy, I said, okay, lady. One of my favorite readers is from Louisiana. It's a guy, and he says, whenever the Empress comes out, and that's exactly what the fuck you are, empath, is the Empress. But you're there because the Empress is down to earth. The Empress does work. The Empress is not afraid to get her hands dirty, but there's still a level of benevolence. Like, you have to approach her appropriately. You don't just walk up on an Empress, right? She's earned her stripes, is what you need to know. She's fought for her life. She's not just sitting pretty like the Queen of Wands. She's not just full of love like the Queen of Cups. She knows how to fucking fight. And that's something people underestimate when they want to play in your life, step in your life, when they want to siphon energy, get close to see how the sausage is made actually. So that favorite, speaking of sausage, andouille sausage, speaking of my favorite reader, the way he says lady, that lady, he says lady, like that. When the Empress comes out. Oh, the lady's here. Ladies and gentlemen, abracadabra, you have appeared. And some people will treat you like you are a page. And that will be their grave mistake. You are the lady. You are the lady. You are the Empress. And they'll have to put some respect on your name. Whether you want them to, whether they want to, it's something that's mandated by the spiritual team behind you. It's above me now. So after she took the route, then I had to do some figuring out how I was going to manage this. This was a particularly tricky situation. But I knew that our contract was not only up, but it could also be renewed. I want to caution you guys for renewing contracts with people you know you're not supposed to. They showed me her life. She asked a question. And it's a question that used to inspire me. She would ask it year after year. What are you guys planning on doing this year? Like, what's on your agenda? And I remember the first time she asked it, we were overlooking someplace that was absolutely palatial. And she asked me, and I felt intimidated and challenged. Like, what am I going to do this year that's going to really change the course of my life? And then I went on to actually do important and cool things that year. And I won awards and magical things happened to me. And so I was pushing towards the mark of my destiny. But I noticed that her life was in stagnancy and that nothing had changed. And every year she'd ask that question sitting at a table surrounded by friends and family. And every year she was living in the same thing. She was refusing real alchemy. And the last time she asked it, the angels flashed me Men in Black. You know when the guy is an alien and he's in the meat suit of a human body? And she specifically put her hands on the table and she looked up and she was adjusting herself to stand up, and it didn't feel fluid. She felt like an alien body. It felt foreign to me. It felt like she was stuffed inside of her meat suit. And they showed me him and they said, you have someone who is not your friend, that is masquerading as something. I don't remember what he actually was inside of there, if he was an alien or an insect or whatever, but my angels were so clear to me. The imagery is wild. Be a fire sign. Have a very good time. The imagery was wild. And she asked that question. And they said, do you want to stay in the land of the living? Or do you want to pass away and be dead again? And I said, dead again. And they said, she's not living. She's not living like you. She does not have aspirations to do what you do. And in fact, she's been dispatched in to stop you. I said, when did this happen? They said, before your eyes. And then I heard, all rise. I'm not kidding you guys. They said, you are now in the court of law. The honorable God is presiding. And all the pantheon of spirit teams see what they saw. And now they're letting you see what they've been watching on the series Netflix this episode. Will this be a season finale? Or are you going to be the show that goes on in perpetuity that should have ended when it was at its height? Ooh, come on, y'all. I'm talking to somebody tonight. Sometimes something will go past its expiration date. And when it does, there is nothing you're going to extract out of it that's good. It is only going to be toxic to you and to weigh you down because you did all the things you were supposed to do. You learned all the lessons you could, and you were supposed to exit stage left while things were mostly good. Tower moments happen in our life and relationships when we have overstayed our welcome. And my angels were tapping me. Hey sis, you got to clean this up. There should be no more of this. You've overstayed your welcome in the situation, and now it's going to start to be detrimental for you. It will start to be degrading for you. They are going to be disrespectful for you, to you, for you, on your behalf. They are going to attack you. They are going to put their word witchery on you. They already have begun. If you could hear the things that we are hearing, and then so they started to let me hear. I told you in another video here that I've been really heightening my clairs. I've been doing it with powerful violet flames that literally make me breathe in. This violet flame has such a visceral effect on me, and with other things that have been gifted and other things that I've been dispatched to purchase for myself. But amethyst and crown chakra energy, they wanted me to hear what I was feeling and trust what I was feeling and not trust what I was seeing. Now, with my mind's eyes, when I saw that Men in Black switch where she was in the meat suit body asking me asking the table collectively what powerful things they were going to do with their life, or what big plans that they have for the year. But they said, do you hear? Year after year. And then they started playing Cyndi Lauper. Time says you think of me. The second hand done once. If you watch me, you will find me. Time after time. They were saying something about time standing still. And they were saying something to me about my free will. And they were saying that this will be one of your most bitter pills, because this person might even think they love you still, but they know they don't like you, and they know they actually despise you, and they know they actually hate you, and they're wishing unwell to you. And we had to show you the mask, because this cannot last. And if you signed up for it, it would go downhill, or maybe over the cliff so fast. When I took the picture that you saw on the thumbnail, I was on the phone with my best friend. I didn't tell her that I took the picture. A week or so later, she reached out to me, and we were just chatting about work, life, whatever. And I said, yeah, my angels were really talking to me about a situation. I didn't even tell her what it was about specifically. But I said, my angels are talking to me about a situation that I have to cut off. And I said, I'm going to show you the picture, because when you see it, you'll understand the gossip energy. They were telling me that these people have been really gossiping about me, and that's a huge no-no for me. It's a no-no for me, and you guys get to make your own rules, because again, I don't know what's next. But my angels always said you can't have people around you that are a liability. And they said this person has become a liability because nothing is private. And then they let me check my math. I'll explain that shortly. Everything that I was intuitively getting was then corroborated and actually shown to me and verbally validated to me. People were telling me things about my life, and I had never told them those things. How did they know that about me? Because I was fodder for conversation. Specifically, anybody in my life should know this. And you can decide what works for you, but Michael Jackson always stood out to me. Obviously, child of the 80s, whatever, but he would always show up at random people's houses. And I'm not talking about the allegations or whatever. I'm talking about the fact that there was a part of him that really didn't grow up, but also wanted to be protective. Also, he could be really exacting. He was a Virgo, so he was an asshole, truly. If you ever see him practicing and stuff, it's not all sweet. Like, he was a perfectionist, right? And so I relate in a lot of ways to the way that I show up in my life. I'm not saying everything's always perfect. That's not. But what I'm saying is he reached such heights of fame, which I know nothing about. But he reached such heights of fame that he just liked going to someone's house and having meatloaf and peas and mashed potatoes. And they were like, I can't believe Michael Lee Jackson sitting at my table. And he was like, yeah, I'm sitting at your table and I'm eating up these fusion mashed potatoes. But what he just wanted was like a taste of normalcy. What he wanted was to be protected for a moment, because we know that his father was abusive to him, right? Joe did not protect him. What he wanted was to be incognito for a second. What he wanted was to feel like he was safe, to not have a bunch of fawning fans and people in his face. What he wanted was the moment to just be him, where there were no expectations that he perform and do something differently unless he wanted to of his own volition. And now that I'm living the life that I do, I understand why that would be something that he would want. I always was drawn to that. My angels always, even as a kid, say, pay attention to when you hear these stories about Michael. And I can so relate. And my life is not even on par, guys. So listen, don't cry for me, Argentina, okay? Don't cry for me, Argentina. But sometimes I just want to be protected. Sometimes I just want to be around people that genuinely are like, girl, we could just be. And that's it. And it's easy. And I don't have to perform and show up. Sometimes I regret so much, even though I have to share. I've tried so hard to stay hidden here. And it's above me now. I don't get to hide anymore. And you guys will see what that means. I don't even understand it myself. And it's overwhelming. But it comes to me in dreams. And my dreams always come true. Even if it's some of the hardest things to do for me. Sometimes I just don't want a bunch of people in my face when I arrive somewhere. Sometimes I don't want to tap dance and show my magical skills of psychiatry. Sometimes I just want someone that just loves me. Like, I'm just human, right? I just want that. And it's weird because Michael Jackson, Incredible Heights of Fame and Insanity, me over here whimpering and complaining about something, but I'm just telling you, there's a reason that you have to vet the people that are around you. For you, for me, I know why. Because if I'm a sideshow for people instead of their friend that they protect, and if I'm the fodder for gossip and I'm your entertainment, and you can't just respect my privacy, which is all I want. I will tell every secret to someone that is my good friend, my best friend, whoever, right? My bestie. But will you protect me? And in that way I related. In that small way. I relate to Michael. I now know why my angels had me pay attention to those words he would say, and would see the little impish look on his face when he got to kind of tuck away and be with a family. And I don't know what other insidious shit he had going on, and that's not what this is about. But what I know is that feeling of like, can you just like me without the whatever you think is the clout? Can I not have 50 people when I arrive at your home in my face? Can you just respect my space? Can you respect my weirdness too? The fact that I could be in your house and not talk to you. I mean, respectfully, I'll talk to you, but I'm not easy. Any of you guys think you want to be friends with a metaphysical spiritualist, or you want to date a spiritualist, or you want to soulmate a spiritualist, or you want to be besties with a spiritualist? I want you to think about that, really, because this work is not easy, and it's hard to communicate, and being around someone that's always pursuing what they are dispatched in here to do will sometimes trigger the likes of whoever is you, or it will trigger people around them too. Let's say you actually find a good friend and they're able to weather the test of time. Are they able to fight off the attacks that will always happen when someone is divine, when someone is that lady, when someone is that empress? Because people get on demon time. Just you showing up, just you being unapologetically you, is something that makes people uncomfortable. And so other people will want to get in. Maybe they want to take a look. They want to see sideshow Timmy Tim. They want to get in. Or maybe they want some of your energy for whatever it is that you do. They want to talk about it too. Or maybe they want to degrade you and tear you down. And too often, unfortunately, I've been on that side of town, where I'm just there happily like, oh, this is wonderful. So nice to meet you. And there's all these... Because that's what low vibrational people do. When you are stuck in your skin suit and you have nothing to look forward to, then why the fuck should you, figuratively you, the collective me, have something to look forward to? But they don't know that the things we look forward to are the things we've worked for, the things we've prayed for, the things we manifested, the things that we were actually owed, the things that were given. It has been a lonely road. For anybody that wants to come in and clout chase you or destiny swap you or have your life or gossip about you, Anubis weighs the scales and said, would you like their life too? Oh, excellent. Strap on your best Jesus sandal shoes, because there's a lot of walking in the desert that you're about to do. Be careful of the life you think you want. It costs something. What did it cost Michael? His innocence, his sanity, his life. Actually, message. Be careful, because if you want a destiny switch, they'll switch it, but then you're now about to go through what it took whoever you thought you wanted to steal from, or who you wanted to siphon from, or whose energy you wanted to up-level from. Now you can go through what they went through too, son. If it was good enough for the Son of Man, then it's good enough for your enemies and fans. Fans, figuratively speaking, because really, they're haters. They keep the algorithm going, but it costs something. In any case, in that moment, I was thinking, this is a ship and it's sinking. It's a Titanic, and I don't want to romanticize it. And I'm not staying on the bow to play the violin as the nose goes down. I'm not doing it. Sometimes you will have to excuse yourself when the ship is sinking. And sometimes you'll just be dispatched in to help people do some ascension for them. I pointed that out in our exit interview. I said, I came in here with work to do. These were the objectives that I made. And these were the ways that I wanted to help your dreams come true. Mission accomplished. There is not a work that I go in to do that I don't do. I am very ethical that way with people that I love. I'll focus in on a thing that I know that they deserve, that they're calling in it they need. And if they are not filled with greed and hate and duplicity, I will stay until I can make that dream an energetic reality. Whether it means I'm emotionally coaching, spiritually coaching, loving them, just showing up for them like they show up for me. There always should be some reciprocity. And I said, I met these objectives. Did you even think about that when you were with me? You came in with a lot of pomp and circumstance and a lot of big energy, and I transmuted and did take what I could take from your energetic vibration and reality. But then you stopped really wanting to give to me fairly and just expected me to give and give and give and give endlessly, and took it for granted and started to spit at me and tell me that it wasn't enough. Well, now it's enough. Enough is enough. When I was talking to that friend, I said, here's a picture, you should see it. This is how my angels are letting me know that this is the end of this connection and I have to release it. I sent her the picture and she said, you can't make this stuff up, which is the thing that I love to say because it's the truth. When the angels start working with you, you can't make this stuff up. And it was just 11:22 on the timer. New partnerships. Yeah, it's time for a new home. And so she said, I just received an email from the owner of this business. I'm going to make sure when I post it that you don't see specifically the full number or anything. So you'll see part of it, but whatever. She said, I just received an email because the work that my friend does is in insurance. And she asked specifically if I had another broker that could work with her, because the broker that she was working with happened to be her bestie, and there has been some issues with gossip, and it caused an issue with a wedding, and a whole bunch of stuff was happening, like a whole bunch of stuff, and she was no longer comfortable with having her handle her business matters. So the person that randomly, I had no idea, even knew my best friend, had emailed her that very day that I actually decided to send the picture her way. Mind you, I've had eyes on this picture and this mural for months, right? Never mentioned it to her. Didn't even mention it to her when I took the picture the week before. And I was on the phone with her. And when I sent it to her, she was like, I can't believe this. This person happens to be the broker's bestie, and they had some issues. And she said, I heard it from the broker, but something in my spirit told me that it wasn't the truth. Look at how God works, guys. And now when I got this email, even though the woman did not go into detail, she just made it clear There's clearly more to the story, and I'm protecting myself, and I no longer even want to have any business dealings. Can you reassign me? And she's like, what are the chances that you're sending me a mural that's telling you to end a connection because people are gossiping about you and not protecting you, and they're using you for fodder and entertainment, and they are lying straight out? When I got to check the math, I realized how she was just omitting things so that I would just look bad. And it just disgusted me. The snake is what I did see that careened us off the edge of that hill so manically. Absolutely. And it was so fascinating, the full circle of it for me, that I'm sending my best friend a picture of gossip that is pertaining to me as a spiritual message and a sign from my angels and my spiritual team, and she's dealing with, on the other end, in a business manner, having to reassign someone because of gossip issues and or slander that she did not want to trickle over into her business. And I was dispatched to take that picture that actually was connected to her in the most random and cosmic kismet of ways, which also solidified the way that we interface as a spiritual cap and a feather in our hat, that we were heading in the right direction and way. That's how you know you're in alignment with somebody. That's how you know that you have soulmates that have really been dispatched into you, is when all of this incredible, miraculous stuff happens and you could not have planned it. That sounds like I penned it for a book. I was shook, but it was the truth, and it was a double confirmation that they've been talking about you. They've been disrespecting you. They've been not protecting you. And it's all out of some low vibrational boredom and misery that's in their life that they want to project onto you. How come you're happy? How come you're escaping? How come you're free? Sometimes people don't even want your happy, guys. And that's the way that that picture came into play and changed the course of my life, but also was the icing on the cake in a spiritual warfare that I had been embarked in. And I was trying to strategically find the loophole to compassionately extricate myself from a situation where people just hated me. And you would say, Monette, why not just leave and tell them fuck them and whatever? Well, eventually I got there, and I made it incredibly clear. You're lying to me. And the angels still love that person so much. You know, it's so beautiful how we, each and every one of us, are loved by the Creator. They love that person so much that they gave her one more chance. I'm channeling pentatonics. Oh my God, there were so many people involved. Pentatonics is 5. Oh my God, there were so many people involved in the lies she was telling and the slander she was spreading and the triangulation she was trying to do to me. And she knew she wouldn't treat her dogs that way. Meaning, if a dog had been abused, this is a person who would absolutely go out of her way to really love and take care of them. And she would not, let's say a dog had issues with sound and firecrackers, she would do everything in her power, wrap a dog's head in blankets, do whatever she could to prevent her cats and her dogs and all of her animals from never having to be triggered by that loud sound. And what she was doing at the end of the connection when she was on demon time with me was literally like reading the list from the shelter where she adopted me. Oh, she's triggered by this. She can't eat that. And so let's create a menu that's consumed, that she's consuming only this, that she can't have. And we're going to play this song that actually triggers her every day. This is just hypothetically speaking. But that's how she treated me, less than she would treat an animal, actually. She would be more protective of an animal's trigger. She was going out of her way to try to trigger me, to elicit a reaction out of me, because that's how demons like to play. Can I get you into your lower vibration? Can I get you to snap off so that I can say to all the people that I've been gossiping about, oh, wait, look and see. I told you she would attack me, and she was throwing rocks and hiding her hands the whole time. Actually, you guys have been through this. Who's watching me? You know it. You know exactly what that's like. And then you're like, okay, so I can't. No. So I had to be very strategic, because I didn't really want to fight. By the end of it, I was disgusted with her, and that is beautiful, because that allowed me to alight, to literally leave, and to take my energy out of the connection completely with no compassion and with no remorse. To do it like an air sign would, let's say. I was cold, and I wasn't cold because I was trying to hurt her. See, the difference is a lot of things she assumed I was doing out of malice. I wasn't. I was just trying to find happiness in my life, and she despised recognized that. But she thought I was trying to punish her. I wasn't. And so the truth is, as Anubis weighed our hearts, my intentions were not to hurt. In fact, I went out of my way to help, to figure it out, to manage it in any kind of way I could. And it's still, they say no good deed goes unpunished. I did no good in that situation. I should have just left as soon as I felt it in my gut. But I hung on and hung on because she wanted me to stay in that rut with her. Very much crabs in a barrel. Absolutely. And the truth is, when I left, and it was not compassionately, I left happily because I was relieved. Because she wanted me to stick around just so that she could be mean, so that she could extract her pound of flesh, so that she could punish me for how she thought that I was probably coming at her neck when I really wasn't. And only time can tell that story. It is not anything that I could tell her, because people go into spiritual psychosis when they want to come against you sometimes, certainly when they want to come against me, and I look like everybody's demon, until from a distance they finally see that they were the reason. It's not always not my fault, guys. There's certainly ways that you play into things that you could trigger people, and I can always take accountability for that. But this situation was not supposed to be on my back. It was a monkey on my back, and it was a monkey that was biting on my neck, trying to attack, and then trying to gaslight me and tell me, no, all is right. Well, they loved her so much, they gave her one more time to get it right. And I had clarified a lot of lies and understood that what I was seeing before my eyes was in fact the truth, but I didn't have to check my math, and you don't need to either. Sometimes you don't get to check your math, and there will not be ways to do that. You just have to trust your intuition and know that those oatmeal cookies that Gertrude made are actually filled with arsenic. She's gone bad. She's gone rogue. You don't need to debate about it. But my angels love me for the hours I put in, so they allow me to check my math. And I just talked to someone, and they were like, oh, she's absolutely jealous, da-da-da-da-da. Full confirmation of everything that I was trying to be like, hey, you want to talk about this? Or can we, can I extract some honesty here, and then maybe I can transmute it? Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, every freaking way to avoid accountability. And so she lied for the last time to me. She didn't know it was her last time, but I did. I was like, fascinating, because I just checked the math. And it turns out the lie detector says you're full of shit. You are feeling all these things, and it's validated and verbalized by other people. But to me, you lie. To me, you don't keep me safe, and that doesn't keep me safe. That's a liability. That's someone that's playing in my face. And that happens, guys, so that you can understand, just maybe something to check for yourself when you haven't integrated your shadow side. The angels were working with her the whole time, trying to tell her. She even selected something, a crystal she was attracted to, that was literally about integrating her shadow side. She selected it on her own. I didn't push it on her. I didn't suggest it. That's how good our angels are at getting to the crux of the matter. And they wanted her to ascend and do better. They wanted her to release herself of her shadow. They wanted her to release herself of that pettier side and that nature. And she was faking. She was cosplaying her spirituality, in fact. Because when push came to shove and she had a chance to really, really clean it, which means she would have had to die to her ego and deal with what it really was, she chose one last time to lie. Just like Peter lied and denied 3 times that Jesus was even his friend, she lied to me again and again, and then finally again. And that's when it got brought fully to an end. And now I had no more compassion left. And now I had no more empathy. Now I was fighting for my life against an archon energy, because I don't recognize you. You are not the friend that I once knew. You are not the person that I trusted. You are someone that just wants proximal attachment to me. You want me to stay here and be obedient while you lash me. Right color, wrong ear. That's not my despair to own. That's her despair. That's her trying to fit into her human skin while she's battling the demons within. Pay attention to the signs that they give you, guys. If you're listening, the angels never lie. No lies were told. She had her jealousy and her low vibrational thinking of me had taken over. She'd lost control. And when we careened off that cliff in my dreams, it was a prophetic word and foretelling. There was no way I could fix it. Sometimes when you get those dreams, that's it. There is no way to rectify the situation. I could have aborted mission faster. I wish I did. But still, I can transmute what I learned because it was a brilliant lesson. I learned so much about having to discern when someone is so sweet and they absolutely are feeding you arsenic tea. And now I know what that looks like. And so the next time I'm faced with that further in my life, the faces will change, but the behavior will be the same, actually. And no one will be able to even get that pot of tea close to me. Because if they can't put it down your throat, a 3rd-degree burn or 2 wouldn't be something they wouldn't mind seeing on you. Be so close who you let next to you. So good sharing energy with you guys. Come back and join me next time. We'll continue to evolve together.